Hi, my fellow Spanish students. This is Tara, and I'm giving my presentation today on Mexican architecture. The reason that I chose this subject is primarily because I took a art history class a couple semesters ago, and it really taught me to appreciate not only art, but art in the form of buildings and structures and all the details and hard work that goes into that. So this presentation is about these structures in Mexico. What I really enjoyed most about the Mexican architecture is just the variety of different buildings that I saw while doing my research. To the left here you'll see a ruin of a somewhat Mayan-looking temple. And I'll go into more detail on that later. And to the right is a newer building, but again, hundreds of years old. So the first structure that I'm going to talk about is part of an archaeological site called Monte Alban. This site is located in an area of Mexico called Oaxaca or Oaxaca. It's in southern Mexico. And this site is one of the oldest still standing ruins that exist today in Mexico. It was founded in around 500 BC and is still standing today for the enjoyment of both tourists and archaeologists alike. This next slide shows a structure called the Palace at Palenque. This was built by the ancient Mayans, also in southern Mexico. The ruins date back to around 226 BC until the fall of the Mayans in 1123 AD. So after its decline, though, it was pretty much absorbed into the jungle, and now it's been excavated and restored and is a very famous archaeological site that attracts thousands of visitors. This next slide also shows an ancient Mayan structure that was built around 600 AD. It's called Chichen Itza, or Itza. Like I said, also built by the Mayans. And one of the coolest things about this area was the caves that are about 2.5 miles away. The picture in the lower right-hand corner shows kind of a laser composite of what the inside of those caves looked like, and they actually found old pottery from the ancient Mayans that they believed went into these caves to worship. The next time period that is very apparent when we look at Mexican architecture is from the colonial period. This period began when the Spanish came to Mexico, and it's very apparent in the architectural buildings of that time. You can see a lot of Indian looking structures, and it also definitely brought the classical order to Mexico. These is around this time that the first churches and monasteries were built, so I'll be showing you some of those. This first church is called the Church of Santa Prisca. This church is built in the city of Taxco de Alarcon. Yeah, it's in northern Mexico. So this church was built in or around the 1750s and dedicated to the Catholic religion. What I loved most about this church was the view from the inside, and you can see how tall the inside of the cathedral is, and it was actually the tallest building in Mexico up until about 1806, when it was surpassed by another church called the Lady of Carmen. Here's another church, or a cathedral to be more specific, called Puebla Cathedral. Again, you can see the huge lofty arches and tall ceilings, and just immaculate detail that went into this structure. This next building is called the Palacio de Bellas Artes. This translates into the Palace of Fine Arts, and it's the most important cultural center in Mexico City. It was originally built at the end of the 19th century, but then it was actually torn down in 1910 in favor of the more opulent building that you see in front of you. Well, class, that is the end of my presentation. Hasta noches.